Hi everyone, good day to all. So in the series of our presentation, the today's class, we are going to discuss about the methods to enhance the dissolution rates and bioavailability of a poorly soluble drugs. So before going to it, let's know what is bioavailability. Bioavailability is one of the important pharmacokinetic properties of drug which are used to describe the fraction of an administered dose of unchanged drug that reaches the systemic circulation. So this is what we have already discussed, rate and extent of drug which is available in the unchanged form in the systemic circulation. When a drug is administered intravenously, its bioavailability is 100%. However, if the drug is administered through other routes, such oral, its bioavailability decreases because of incomplete absorption or first pass metabolism. So the lesser percentage in oral route is not only due to first pass metabolism, sometimes it may not be absorbed properly in stomach or intestine. So that might be also a reason for lower bioavailability in oral route compared to that of the intravenous administration. The measurement of the amount of the drug in the plasma at fixed time intervals indirectly represents the rate and extent at which the active moiety is absorbed from the drug product and became available at the site of action. And also, bioavailability is an essential tool in pharmacokinetics which is used for calculating dosage of a non-intravenous route of administration. So this is what about the bioavailability which is interrelated to the concepts. So method of enhancing bioavailability. First we have to know the classifications of biopharmaceutics based on the drug solubility and permeability. As all we know that there are four classes, class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, which is categorized as high solubility and high permeable drug in the class 1, low solubility and high permeability in the class 2, and high solubility and low permeability in class 3, low solubility and low permeability in class 4. Most of the pharmaceutical drugs comes under the class 2 derivatives where they face a problem of low solubility. So those challenges in low solubilities may be due to the first one is poor aqueous solubility and or slow dissolution rate in biological fluids. The second one is poor stability of the dissolved drug at the physiological pH. And the third reason might be inadequate partition coefficient and thus poor permeation through the biological membrane. And finally, due to extensive pre-systemic metabolism. So these might be the reason for poor bioavailability. So there are some approaches to overcome the bioavailability problem. Those are, the first approach is pharmaceutical approach. It is done by modification of formulation, manufacturing process or physicochemical property of the drug. Any one of these approach, either any one of these approach, we can enhance the bioavailability. Second is pharmacokinetic approach. By altering the pharmacokinetic parameters by modifying its chemical structure. The third is biological approach. The route of administration can be changed. This is one method, and the other is solubility and rate of dissolutions are important factor mainly in considering this biological approach. So this is the various approaches to overcome the bioavailability problems. So to enhance the method of bioavailability, there are several methods, around 12 methods we are going to discuss today. The first one is micronization. So micronization, it is mainly involved in reduction of sizes. So reducing the size of the solid particles to 1 to 10 microns, mainly used by spray drying or by air attrition method, fluid energy mill. So either any one of these method, we will be reducing the size to 1 to 10 microns. So as the size decreases, the particle size decreases, the surface area increases. So due to the increase in surface area, it leads to better absorption, ultimately leading to good bioavailability. Some examples of the drugs whose bioavailability has been increased by micronization includes griseofulvin and several steroids and sulfur drugs. The second method for enhancing the bioavailability is use of surfactant. So the surface active agents or surfactant enhances the dissolution rate primarily by promoting wetting and penetration of dissolution fluid into the solid drug particles. They are generally used in concentration below their critical micellar concentration, that is CMC value. Since above the CMC value, the drug entrapped in the micellar structure fails to partition in the dissolution fluid. Non-ionic surfactants like polysorbates are widely used. Examples of the drugs whose bioavailability has been increased by use of surfactants in the formulation includes steroids like spironolactone. Here, the basic mechanism is wetting. So there are some solid particles which are poorly water soluble. They hate water. They won't get affiliated to water. By using surfactant, these surfactant enhances the wetting tendency of the poorly soluble drugs, thereby lead to quick soluble and better bioavailability in such cases. The third method is use of salt forms. So salt has improved solubility and dissolution characteristics in comparison of the original drugs. So these are some of the examples where the salt form enhances the solubility. The individual drug upon salt formation, there is a chances of 4 folds, 20 folds, 60 folds, 200 folds, even 10,000 folds enhancing in the solubility of the drug. And alkali metal salts of acidic drugs like penicillin and strong acid salts of basic drugs like atropine are more water soluble than the parent drug in case of salt form. They have better solubility. The next is about alteration of pH of the drug microenvironment. So this can be achieved in two ways, either by in situ formation and addition of buffer to the formulation. Example, buffered aspirin tablet. So in situ formation in the sense the drug will be changing its nature at a particular pH. Either it might be 1.2 pH or it might be ocular pH or it might be intestinal pH, whatever may be. Upon drug getting exposure to a specific pH, immediately it will be converting into another form which we are intended during the formulation. So that is what I think. So drug might be insoluble in one form at a one environment, and it cannot be administered or stable in that area in the same form. So this approach can make the drug to get convert into that area immediately, thereby it has a chances to enhance the bioavailability. For example, in case of ocular, the liquid or ocular solutions, ophthalmic solutions, have poor bioavailability due to its less contact time. Whereas in case of in situ gel, in the dosage form, the drug will be in a liquid nature. Once we are adding the drop in the ocular area, the solution gets converted into gel, salt to gel. The salt solution of the salt will be getting converted into gel. That's we call as in situ gel formation. That gel have a capacity to enhance the contact time than that of solution. Thereby, the bioavailability of the drug will be getting quite enhanced. The next approach is use of metastable polymorph. A metastable polymorph is more soluble than that of a stable polymorph of a drug that exhibit polymorphism. An example for it is chloramphenicol palmitate. So this chloramphenicol palmitate have three different forms B, A and C, out of which the form B shows better solubility and better bioavailability when compared to the other forms. So to possess a better solubility, we obviously prefer the form B of chloramphenicol palmitate. The next approach is solute solvent complexation. The solvates of the drugs with organic solvents are called as pseudopolymorphism. So previously we discussed about polymorph, and here we are going to discuss about pseudopolymorphism. So this pseudopolymorphism generally have higher aqueous solubility than their respective hydrates or original drugs. So much higher solubility can be attained by freeze drying, such as solute in solution with an organic solvent, with which it is known as to form a solvate. So without deteriorating or damaging the drug, we will be converting it into powder, the liquid into powder, the solvent or solute to a solvate form. Such a process results in a powder of particles of submicronized size. Example, 1:2 glycofulvin benzene solvate proportion. But however, one should take care that the solvent is non-toxic. That is most important. So this is one process which has been used for getting better solid bioavailability, that is solvent deposition. So in this method, the poorly aqueous soluble drugs such as nifedipine is dissolved in an organic solvent, namely alcohol, and deposited as an inert hydrophilic solid matrix such as starch or microcrystalline cellulose by evaporation of solvent. So this is one method for enhancing the bioavailability. The next approach is selective adsorption on insoluble carriers. A highly active adsorbent such as inorganic clays, either it is bentonite, that can be enhance the dissolution rate of poorly water soluble drugs such as glycofulvin, indomethacin and prednisone by maintaining the concentration gradient at its maximum level. The two reasons suggested for the rapid release of drugs from the surface of clay are the weak physical bonding between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, and the hydration and swelling of the clay in the aqueous media. The ninth approach is solid solutions. The three means by which the particle size of a drug can be reduced to submicron level are use of solid solutions, use of eutectic mixtures, use of solid dispersions. So in all these cases, the solute is frequently a poorly soluble poorly water soluble drugs acting as a guest, and the solver is highly water soluble compound or polymer acting as a host or a carrier. So this is what in the case, in all these three cases, the solvent is frequently a poorly soluble drug acting as a guest, that will be acting as a guest, and the solver which is highly water soluble compound or a polymer will be acting as a host or a carrier. So the insoluble drug getting incorporated inside the soluble carrier. So this is what the mechanism in these three approaches. A solid solution is a binary system comprising of a solid solute molecule disposed in a solid solvent. Since these two compounds crystallize together in a homogeneous one-phase system, the solid solutions are called as molecular dispersion or mixed crystals. So saying about the conditions in solid solutions, because of the reduction in particle size to the molecular level, the solid solution shows greater aqueous solubility and faster dissolution than the eutectic and solid dispersion. So they are generally prepared by fusion method, whereby a physical mixture of a solute and a solvent are melted together, followed by a rapid solidification. Such systems prepared by fusion are often called as melts. For example, glycofilament succinic acid. So the glycofilament formed for such solid solution dissolves 6 to 7 times faster than that of the pure glycofilament. So this is one example for which shows a better dissolution profile, better solubility profile. So here we have a graph of A, which is 100% an individual compound, and B, and another compound. These both on getting merging to each other, fusing to each other, it converts to a liquid solid form. That conditions will be creating a better enhancement of solubility. Well, if the diameter of the solute molecule is less than 60% of the diameter of the solvent molecule, or if its volume is less than 20% volume of the solvent molecule, then the solute molecule can be accommodated within the intermolecular spaces of the solvent molecule. So that's what. If the solute molecule is less than that of the solvent, it can easily accommodate inside. That's what the concept in it. Example, digitoxin PEG 6000 solid solution. So upon approaching this method, it shows better dissolution or faster dissolution. So when the resultant solid solution is a homogeneous, transparent and brittle system, it is called as a glass solution. So carriers generally that forms glassy structures are citric acids, urea, PVP, PEG, and some sugars such as dextrose, sucrose, galactose. So there are two mechanisms which are suggested for enhancing solubility and rapid dissolution of molecular dispersion. Those are, the first is when a binary mixture is exposed to water, the soluble carrier dissolves rapidly, leaving the insoluble drugs in a state of microcrystalline dispersion of a very fine particle. The second is when the solid solution, so that is in a state of randomly arranged solute and solvent molecule in a crystal lattice. So that is what we call it as a solid solution. When this solid solution is getting exposed to a dissolution fluid, the soluble carriers dissolves rapidly, leaving the insoluble drug standard at a molecular level. So this is the second mechanism. And the next approach is eutectic mixture. So saying about this eutectic mixture, these systems are prepared by fusion method. These eutectic melts differ from solid solution, that the fused melt of solute solvent shows complete miscibility but negligible solid-solid solubility. That is, such systems are basically intimated having a blended physical mixture of two crystalline compounds. So that is what eutectic mixture, which is shown in the diagram also. So the melting point of substance A will be at a particular point and B will be in some other particular range. So at a eutectic temperature, the solid A will be getting converted into a liquid, similarly solid B also, and that both get merged to form a homogeneous mixture at a particular temperature, which we call it as a eutectic temperature. When the eutectic mixture is exposed to water, the soluble carrier dissolves, leaving the drug in a microcrystalline state, which is solubilized rapidly. Well, in eutectic mixture, some of the examples are paracetamoluria, glycosylpheniluria, glycosylphene succinic acid, and so on. Solid solutions and eutectics, which are basically melts and are easy to prepare and economical with no solvent involved in it. The methods, however, cannot be applied to drugs which falls to crystallize from the mixed melt or thermolabile drugs and carriers such as succinic acid that decompose at their melting point. The eutectic product is often tacky, intractable, and irregular crystals. So this is what about eutectic mixture is of. The next method is solid dispersion. These are generally prepared by solvent or co-separation method, whereby both the guest solute and the solid carrier solvents are dissolved in a common volatile liquid solvent such as alcohol. The liquid solvent is removed by evaporation under reduced pressure or by freeze drying, which results in amorphous precipitation of guest in a crystalline carrier. Thus, the basic difference between the solid dispersion and the solid solution or eutectic is that the drug is precipitated out in an amorphous form in the former as opposed to crystalline form in the later. Amorphous sulfathiazone in crystallinuria is an example for this approach. Such dispersion often called as co-evaporates or co-precipitates. So this is what about solid dispersion is. We will take the poorly water soluble drug separately and the water loving hydrophilic polymer such as urea separately. These both will be mixed together to form a particular mixture, and that mixture possesses a better co-precipitation or co-evaporates, which has a enhanced solubility phenomena. The method is suitable for thermolabile substances but has a number of disadvantages like high cost of processing, use of larger quantities of solvents, difficulties in complete removal of solvent, such so. The carriers used are same as for that of eutectic or solid solvents. It shows a glassy material. The dispersion forms are called as glass dispersion or glass suspension. The last approach is molecular encapsulation with cyclodextrin. The beta and the gamma cyclodextrin or several of their derivatives are unique in having the ability to form molecular inclusion complex with hydrophobic drugs which have poor aqueous solubility. These cyclodextrin molecules are versatile in having a hydrophobic cavity to make it accommodate the lipophilic drug as a guest. The outside of the host molecule is relatively hydrophilic in nature. Thus, the molecular encapsulated drug has greater improved aqueous solubility and better dissolution rate. There are several examples of drugs with improved bioavailability due to such complexing phenomena. Those are thiazide derivatives, barbiturates, benzodiazepines, and number of NSAIDs. So these are some of the examples of it here. In this, the guest molecule, which is hydrophobic in nature, will be getting accommodated into the host molecule, which is hydrophilic in nature. So this difference between the solid dispersion is this hydrophilic cyclodextrin act as a cavity, and inside the cavity it has a bonding ability to the hydrophobic drug molecule so that it accommodates inside it and thereby possess a better enhancement in the solubility due to this complex, which we called as a inclusive complex. This we called as an inclusive complex. So these are all the various methods for enhancing the bioavailability of polysoluble drugs. Well, to conclude, let me conclude with this quote. If you think of quitting, then recall why do you start. So before starting anything, you can analyze 1,000 times. You can get thousands of inputs from various persons, expertised or successful person's view, or else the failure person's view in that particular approach. So you can collect thousands of inputs. Out of thousands of inputs, you sit, analyze, and refine it to 100. Among the 100, you choose 10 which is close to your heart or which is close to your internal desire, and to that 10, work out and calculate or predict what will be the future possibilities in it, how come it will be advanced to the current condition, and how come you can succeed by using that 10 approaches, and among the 10 which you feel happier in doing it, choose the one. When you choose the one which is of our internal desire and of analyzing all the ideas or inputs which you got over either from the succeeders or failures, then you proceed and go ahead. Never ever step back and think does it goes wrong or it will be getting failure or it won't be working out. Don't think at any time. Once you are finalized your decision which is related to internal desire, step forward. How many hurdles does it come, how many failures does it comes, you never keep full stop for it, because we don't know which of our attempts will give a success to us. So with this, let me finally quote it. Once you started, never think to quit from it. Success will be always at your feet if you are not quitting at your internal desire. Thank you. Thank you all.